Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Evolution Now podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Terrance Johnson. Thank you so much for joining me. First, I have to say thank you so much for all the follows. I think we're right at 70,000 now, millions of views. I couldn't do it without you. So, I appreciate you, the whole nine. But let's get right into what we're going to talk about today. I have my counterpart here, Gus, as always, in the studio. We have some questions that people are going to need to have some answers to. So hopefully, and by God's grace and power, these answers will give you some type of enlightenment and some type of direction as how you should move forward. So listen, let's get right into it. We got a great program scheduled for today. I hope you guys get something out of it. Please share it with your friends and family. And as always, remember, your mind makes it real. Let's get into it. Gus, what we got today?
Well, our first question is a quite popular one. With so much negativity around in the world, how do you keep a good, positive attitude?
How do you keep a positive attitude with so much negativity in the world? Well, first of all, I would say this about attitude. Attitude determines altitude. Now, it could be somewhat difficult to have a great attitude if you're in a very negative situation. And I often hear people say, try to find a silver lining in things and things of that nature, which sounds good. It really does sound good. But unless you're actually in that situation, whatever that person is experiencing, you're kind of on the outside looking in. It could be very difficult to have that type of attunement with the mind. Not that it's impossible. I want to make that clear. It's not impossible, but it could be very difficult to obtain that, especially if you're not used to that. But what I will suggest to you is this. No matter what circumstance, challenge, be it financial, physical, marital, with your children, joblessness, whatever it might be, your attitude is the key to getting out of it. Now, if you have a piss poor attitude, you're angry, you're bitter, you must understand, by us being divine beings, by us having this ability to call the things that are not as though they were, what you put out there is what you're going to get back. What I would say to you is, do your very best to guard your mind. You must have a guard around your mind. What do I mean by that? You must have something protecting your own consciousness from what's trying to invade whatever peace of mind you have. Your mind is constantly under attack. All of us are. But most of us, or not most of us, quite a few of us struggle with being able to protect our mind, to protect the way we think. Remember, if you're thinking badly, particularly about yourself, in a sense, it's called self-inflicted pressure. You are dooming yourself, if you will, by the way that you're thinking. I will say this to you. I did not always live the way that I live where I live, and live how I live. And there was a time that I didn't have the greatest attitude, some stinking thinking, if you will. But once I was able to acknowledge that most of the attitude problem that I had came from myself. Me not believing in myself, me doubting my abilities, me not having the confidence that I can go out here and accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. Once I was able to overcome myself and free myself from myself, I found that my attitude changed quite dramatically. Was it happen overnight? Did it happen overnight? No, it did not. It took quite a bit of time, many nights of inconsistent behavior, because no one changes instantly overnight. When you're giving birth to a new you, it is a gestation process that must take place, no different than a child being born. When a woman becomes pregnant, if you will, she doesn't have the baby in 2 days. It takes 9 months for that child to form. Whatever is birthing in you, give it time to form. But what you can do while it's forming is give it the best nutrition you can possibly give it. Now, what is nutrition for the mind? Positive affirmations, meditation, prayer, fasting. A lot of the things that you're going to encounter don't necessarily deal with your physical attribute as much as your mental awareness and your spiritual development. So remember, attitude determines altitude, and it's something that you are entirely you're in control of. No one can change your attitude but you, and no one can save you or change your situation but yourself. I hope it helps. What else we got, Gus?
We had someone write in, want you to expand on what you mean between the difference of love and care.
Love and care. I actually had a really good conversation about that. What is the difference between love and care? Because I hear many of my beautiful sisters say, I love him, Mr. Johnson. I love him, Mr. Johnson. Or I love her, Mr. J. I do love her, Mr. Johnson. And most people don't understand the difference between love and care. Now, let me hope by this example, it can give you a better definition, that you can have some clarity as you look at loving someone and caring for someone. I'm going to use children as an example. Now, I see a lot of mothers that love their husbands and they love their children, but they don't care about their husband's happiness. They care about their children's happiness. Let me give you an example. A woman wants to get a PlayStation 5 for her son or daughter, whatever the case might be, a dress, whatever to have you, right? And what they'll do is they'll work extra hours, save money, and do whatever just to put a smile on their child's face. Now, we already know that they love the child, but they care about the child being happy. They care about the person being happy. And I see this often where women would say, well, I believe in women's intuition. And I've seen this on Instagram where a brother says, well, if that's true, if your intuition can tell you if your man is unfaithful, why doesn't it tell you when he's unhappy? And the room went silent. Because the fact of the matter is, you could love someone, but don't care about them. You're not caring about that individual's happiness and well-being. And a lot of times when I talk to marital couples, I see couples struggling, there's no doubt that they love each other. That's not the issue, whether or not they love each other. The issue is, do they care about the other person's happiness and well-being? One of the things that shows me my wife cares about me tremendously. When you get to my age, when you're in your 50s, you're close to your 60s, and you're married, your wife is a tower of defense against death. What do I mean by that? Your wife is the one that makes sure you go to your doctor's appointment, get your colonoscopy, get your prostate check, and all the stuff men deal with. No different than them getting mammograms and, doing the gynecologist check. Having all these things. This is why women live longer, because they go to the hospital. They go to the doctors and see the doctors about appointments. But in doing so, I know that my wife loves me. This is a non-issue. But she cares about my health. She cares about my physical well-being. She cares about my mental state. There are a lot of people who love each other but never go to the doctor with each other. They would never do that. And it's not that they don't love them, they just don't care to do that. And so when we understand the difference between care and love, most women not only love their children, they care about their happiness and their well-being. But unfortunately, many married couples love each other, but they don't care about each other or care for each other in that regard. And let me tell you, this is going to lead into another question I know we have. The worst thing you can do, it's not the worst thing, but one of the worst things a person can do, especially as you get older, is to age and die alone. It's just not good. So when we're looking at love is a great attribute. Everyone wants it. Believe me, that's what everyone's looking for. When you're going out dating, you're looking for someone, men and women. Let me just not put that all on the women. I'm not simping for women, believe me, but I'm not going to sit up here and lie and act like men don't need love. Men need love too, believe me. They just express it in a different way. But when we're out in the world and we're trying to find someone to date, that's what you're primarily looking for, someone to love you and for you to love them back. But I would take it a step further and encourage you not just to love them, but also care for them in the process of loving them. It would only make your relationship that much more fulfilled. And unfortunately, that's one of the tools, if you will, that are missing out of a lot of relationships. Again, I talk to a lot of married couples, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case might be. It's obvious to me that they love each other, but he don't care. He doesn't care to watch whatever's on Lifetime, if you will. She's not caring to watch the football game, if you will. So when we understand that love and care are interchangeable and also necessary to sustain a long relationship, I'm very proud to say I've been married 32 years this year. And you know what's going to really sound crazy? It went by so fast. It went by so fast. So shout out to my beautiful Queen Marie. You know what it is. You already know. Got to highlight the wife and all that. But anyway, understanding the difference between caring and love and how important it is not just to love the one you with. Listen to me. Not just to love the one you with, but to care about the person you're with. And if you're only caring about money, that in itself is a major issue. But I hope that helps, and I hope that you get back to not just loving your significant other and not just loving and caring about your children, but also caring about yourselves. And more importantly, care about yourself and care about what you're doing. Trust me, those things will serve you in the end. Hope it helps. Okay, what else we got, Gus?
It's pretty common in our inboxes to have a lot of people that are experiencing loneliness. What advice do you have for those that are alone?
Loneliness. Wow, that's a big one. There are millions of people, not just here in this country, but around the world that are lonely. It's amazing to me. I live in a nice subdivision, and it's amazing that we have so many neighbors, but most of our neighbors don't even know each other. There seems to be a sense of community in one regard, but also a huge sense of loneliness in another. I see many of my beautiful sisters that have these big, beautiful homes, but are living there by themselves, which is cool. You got the bag, you got the crib, and I'm happy for you. Do your thing, you know what I mean? But at the same time, when there's a bad storm, if you will, when the power goes out and they're alone, Those things that can be somewhat dramatic for us to experience. And the same with men. Men can have a bunch of bravado and come across the way we come across, but I guarantee you as a man, no man wants to be sick and alone in the house by himself and a dog. I mean, the dog is cool, but the dog can't go get you no soup. The dog can't get you your medicine. It doesn't work that way. So how do you deal with loneliness? In my opinion, you have to be very strategic in who you allow into your life. You must become wise about who you're letting your circle. Not that all people are good people, not that all people are bad people, but I'm a firm believer a lot of times, not all the times, but often more than not, you're going to draw to you in some sense of for what's equal to you. And so if you want good people around you, focus on being a good person. And there's also the thing called prayer. You can always pray and say, God, send me great friends, send me great people to be around. You know, some people might think that sounds somewhat fictitious or maybe even antiquated, but does not negate the fact that it might be true, which I believe and know it is to be true. And so as far as being lonely, you know, sometimes isolation is a form of protection. And many of us don't understand this at that time we were being isolated, but sometimes you're isolated from the world to protect you from it. For what's in the world? A lot of darkness, a lot of evil people, a lot of people take advantage of people. And yet when you're alone, you're feeling that lonely. But just remember this, and I hope you can receive this in your spirit and in your heart. You are never really ever truly alone. You might be by yourself, but you're never really alone. There are other things and other forces, if you will, that are always there with us. And so be mindful of that. I would encourage you, if you do find yourself alone, take that time to work on yourself, develop your spiritual understanding, develop your physical body, develop your mental prowess, your intellect. Because once you do have someone, your life sometimes in some ways becomes consumed with that other person. And so a lot of times you could take this time as being alone as an opportunity to better yourself, to move forward, and to put yourself in the best possible position that when I do find someone, I'm at peak performance. When I do find someone, I'm at the optimum level. So whoever does come into my life, it's an asset to me and not a liability. And that goes for men and for women. But if you find yourself alone, use that time constructively, use it productively, and use it to better yourself. That's what I would do. And then once you do find yourself in a situation where you might have somebody in your life, vet them. Well, how do you vet them? You ask questions, you know, and then a lot of times when you ask the questions, here, listen to me. I want you to pay close attention. When you ask the question, let them cook. Let them talk, and you will find out everything you need to know. So again, be wise about who you allow into your life, and don't look at loneliness as a permanent life sentence. It's probably more likely just a temporary injuncture. That's it.
Not too long ago, you were talking about most people want to go or want heaven on earth without going to hell to get it. Can you expand upon that statement?
Sure. Many people want to experience heaven on earth, but not willing to go through hell to get it. You know, and unfortunately, it's somewhat human nature to take the path of least resistance. But let me just say this to you. Many of us want things. Cars, homes, clothes, jewelry, great relationships, love, children, whatever, great careers. And every time I come into the studio, I live in the great city of Atlanta, and I'm on the highway and I see all these vehicles, just so many cars going to and fro. All of us are looking to acquire something. But many of us aren't willing to pay the price. They are not willing to pay the price. Let me give it to you in a more layman's way of speaking. Many people want great, healthy relationships and marriages, but most people are not willing to put the effort in to do it. A woman usually wants a big, elaborate, fancy, gorgeous wedding, but is not willing to be in a marriage. A man might want the most beautiful woman in the world, shapely, gorgeous, well-spoken, nice, lovely lady, but he's not willing to be faithful. Many of us want heaven, but not willing to go through hell to get it. There's nothing in life that you're going to acquire that's of any value to you that's going to come relatively easy. It is just the nature of how things are set up in the world. For example, a woman gets pregnant, she has a baby, but in the months leading to having that birth, she might have morning sickness. She might have backache. She might go through so many physical things that are happening with her body. And as a man, all you can do is empathize with her. She's lost her shape. Her belly's gotten big. Her breasts are bigger. They're swollen. They're tender. All types of stuff that woman might be going through, right? But then she has the baby and she forgets. She forgets all the pain she just endured to have this enjoyment of having this newborn life, right? Let's flip it to the man side. Oh, I'm gonna be a daddy. I'm a husband now, and he feels the joy of having his new family. But after about 10 years, he's let himself go. He's unhappy. He's unfulfilled because he's lost sight of the goal, the mission, which is to obtain heaven, if you will, for what you can obtain heaven for on earth. I hope that makes sense to people. The point I'm trying to make is simply this. In order for you to have something of any value, you're usually going to pay a price to get it. Nothing is fucking free. Look, the only thing that's free is trouble. I'm going to say it to you again. The only thing that is free is trouble. And trouble is not free when you're trying to get out of it. But the only thing that is freely given to all of mankind is trouble. Man's life is short and filled with trouble. The trouble comes to all, both young and old, rich and poor, fat, skinny, tall, doesn't matter. It is universal. The deal is, many of us lack the universal understanding on how to deal with trouble. When you find yourself wanting to obtain something of great value, prepare yourself, embrace it. Embrace the pain that comes along with it. When I see guys at the gym and they're working out and they're going through the motions, I respect them so much because they're willing to go through the pain to look that way. When I see the beautiful young ladies in the gym working out, they're willing to go through the pain. They're willing to go through the pain and wear that size 6 dress. That's what it is. They're willing to go through the pain. But here's an interesting fact, and I want you to put this in the forefront of your mind. Notice people are willing to go through the pain for what they want to do. Most people don't want to go through pain because they just don't want to do it. So when you find yourself in a precarious relationship with your husband and spouse, and the first thing that comes up in your mind is divorce, it's not that you really need to get a divorce. It's just that you just don't want to go through the pain to fix it. But if you took that same attitude in the gym, then you would never go to the gym. If you took that same attitude to obtain your college degree, then you would never go to school. Again, anything in life worth having, you're going to have to put some level of effort and usually endure some level of pain, be it physical, mental, or spiritual. But I want you to be encouraged because whether you know this or not, or believe this or not, you have everything you need to overcome whatever task that's in front of you. And that's why you started in the beginning. I hope it helps.
All right, Mr. J, you just are about to celebrate 32 years or have celebrated
32 years,
32 years of marriage. What's the secret? How'd you do it?
What's the secret to staying 32 years married? A lot of weed. I'm just joking. Nah, listen, man. Here's what I want to tell the young kings and the young beautiful sisters out there. Listen to me. My wife is in the studio too with me, so it's not like she can't hear what I'm saying. I always like to preface that, and I don't want people to think, well, he's saying one thing and this chick's not around him. That's not the case at all. And I damn sure don't bite my tongue in front of her. And that's not because it was a lack of respect. She knew what she was getting when she married me. Trust and believe that. I'm sure that's one of the things she finds attractive about me. My husband gonna tell me what it is. How do you stay married 32 years? Is there one thing I can tell you? Well, I've heard them all. Don't go to bed angry. Don't, be kind, be forgiving, all that stuff. And people hear all that and still don't make it. They still don't make it 32 years. What's the secret? I will say this, and I will speak for me, and I'm sure my wife would agree. And if she, maybe God willing, she'll get on the camera and say some things one day if she chooses to do so. But the fact is, I wanted to be married. Remember I just spoke earlier about you go through the pain for what you want? You see, and she wanted to be married to me, and I wanted to be married to her. And as we've gotten older, we realized that a lot of the challenges and difficulties that we were facing, they really weren't challenges and difficulties of the marriage. There were challenges and difficulties of ego. You want your way, I want my way. But once we got in alignment, if you will, and we made the decision and came to the conclusion that in all honesty, we're all we have. Of course, we have children, grandchildren, and we have friends and family, which is great for all people to have, a support system, if you will. But my goal is never to have to use it, never having to use that support system, because our love is support enough for us to deal with whatever you have to deal with. Unfortunately, many people are just immature. Many men are never taught how to deal with your woman's emotions. And many women are never taught on how to deal with your man being a man. Your man is not mean, he's just being a man. And your woman is not some floozy, man. She's just being a woman. Women love to shop. Shit, that's just what they do, bruh. They love to shop. I mean, my mom loved to shop. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it a buck. Now, whether you need a Birkin and a Lamborghini, that's a whole different message, you know. But at the end of the day, none of the shit she was shopping for and none of the things that I was working for is going to fit in the damn casket. So I'm not telling you not to focus on making money. You should. But I would hope that whoever you choose to be with and spend your life with, that you don't lead with money, you lead with love. Now, many might say this is a foolish statement and is somewhat antiquated and not necessarily relevant in the year and day and age of our Lord, the 2024. That is just, oh, Mr. Johnson, I can't believe that. Well, this is why most people fail, because you don't believe that. You don't believe that. You will achieve what you believe. You will become what's the most dominant thought in your mind. What was the most dominant thought in my mind? Sustaining my family. And however that took shape. So if it's working to provide, you're working to provide. And hopefully you're with someone that's the same number one goal with them. The number one goal in your girl's mind is not her. The number one goal in your girl's mind is you. And the number one goal in your mind is not just the bag, but my girl. But whenever you place things above people, it is a recipe for destruction, my friend. And unfortunately, many of us have subscribed to the Betty Crocker cake of aloneness, being alone, self-destruction, and one-night stands, and doing all the things that we know deep down in our hearts is not the right thing to do. It is very easy to become comfortable with wrong. It is very easy to become comfortable with fornication, doing the wrong thing, sinful, if you will. Regardless if people judge it or question it, it's of no consequence, because ultimately we're all going to die, and in some shape, form, or fashion, we all will have to give an account for what we have done. But ultimately, you will gain the wisdom, garner the emotional fortitude, the intellect to make wise decisions, particularly who you choose to be with. I would say this to any man and to any woman. How have I been married 32 years? It is simple. I chose wisely. I chose wisely. And I encourage you to do the same. Is it impossible to be married 32 years? Listen, I'm praying we can make it another 100, man. I love my woman. I'm not one of these dudes gonna get up here and, bitches ain't this, but man, miss me with that bullshit. I love my wife. I love my daughter. I love my granddaughters. I got love for women. At the same time, I'm not simping saying, yo, kill yourself trying to make them happy. Fuck that. Don't be a simp. Don't be a fool. That's bullshit. Let me be clear. I don't want no one to clip that and just have one aspect and not the rest of it. The deal is you got to find someone that's willing to love you just as much as you love them. And unfortunately, many people miss the mark with that. I hear all these commentaries about marriage and relationships, but no one ever talks about loving each other. There's always some frivolous bullshit, some dumb shit that when you 60 won't even fucking matter. And that's the truth. But because most people have fallen for the agenda for the destruction of the family, and because you partake in the gruel like it is a great breakfast, if you will, many of us find ourselves unfit and malnourished when it comes to how to sustain a healthy and productive marriage and relationship. And let me just leave it on this note. Best believe your boy well motherfucking fed. Next question.
How do you recommend to have good, productive relationships with people in general?
How do you have good relationships with people? Well, I will say this to you. In order for you to have friends, you must be friendly. Most people want shit without doing shit for it. Most people want great relationships with people, but not willing to extend themselves out to have a relationship. I have a lot of great relationships with some great people. Now, do I have a whole slew of people? Do I have 200 people around me? No. But I got 5 to 10 cats. I know I got 5 for sure. And I can stretch it to 10, but 5 for sure. That I know if I call them, they there. No matter what time it is, no matter what's going on, Mr. J, what you need, I got your back. The question is, how did you do that? How did you get to a point in someone's life where they would be willing to do that for you? Here's a little secret that I would teach people when I'm back in my corporate days years ago, and I was managing millions of dollars and huge staffs and all that corporate crap that you go through just to get some money. Here's what I would say to you. People would always ask me, Mr. Johnson, how do you get all these people to do what they do for you? And I would try to teach this to my management team. When people respect you, they will work well for you. There's no doubt about that. But when people like you and respect you, they'll do anything for you. I'm going to say that to you again. When people respect you, they will help you. They'll help you, but they're not going to go out of their way. But when people like you and respect you, they will go out of their way to help you. And that has been the secret of my career, and I'm sharing it with all of you. In order for people to like you, it's very simple. You must be likable. It's not hard to figure out. Don't take a rocket scientist to figure out. And really, when you think about it, these are not things that you're born with, because you can take a black kid, a white kid, a Chinese kid, an Indian kid, a Russian kid, a Polish kid, and put them all in a sandbox. And all those kids will play the fuck together, have a good time until someone comes along and tells them that they're different. And that's not to negate that the racial bias in this country exists. I'm well aware of that. I'm no fool. But at the same time, remember, you weren't born this way. You became this way. So you weren't born being unfriendly. At least most of us are not. So you can have friends if you're friendly. You can have great productive relationships with people if you're a great person and you're productive. But most people are looking for something they do not possess themselves. I want you to understand that. Most people are looking for something they don't even have for themselves. It would be equivalent to someone saying, take me to this restaurant, but you can't afford to take yourself there. And then critique you because you don't take them, and yet they can't take themselves. They critique people for not being friendly, but you're not friendly yourself. You might critique someone for not being as productive as you think they should be, but you're not productive as well. This is the old adage, you must lead by example. There are millions of lonely people out here aching for some friends, trust me. I get DMs, emails, trust me. And some of the things I read, it's sad that the world is the way that it is. So one of the purposes of evolution, not to get off topic here, is to bridge that gap, if you will, between the lonely and the person who doesn't have any friends. There are many people out here that are looking for someone to have to talk to, and it's not always sexual, if you will. It could just be having someone. Guys are simple. You give us a couple of 6-packs, if you will, some burgers and some barbecue, and we can hang out for hours and we don't even know each other's name. That's the truth. Now, notice the dynamic with women is a little different, and I respect that dynamic. But I really can't speak to that because I'm not a woman. All I can look at as an example is from my wife and how she interacts with other women. And what I see with women is they struggle with having great friendships if they're not talking about each other, disrespecting each other, or what this girl is wearing or whatever. All that high school, sound like you're 13, 14 years old when I hear some of the comments that some of these women make. And respectfully, I say that, but you guys know it's true that women can be very catty. But the answer is simple. If you want to have great, productive relationships with people, make sure you're that kind of person first yourself. Remember, you cannot give what you do not possess. I'm going to say that to you again. You cannot give to someone else something you do not possess on your own. All right? I hope it helps.
So you touched on this earlier, and I don't know if you want to keep expanding upon it, but the fact that you don't want to grow old alone, what you've said before. Do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, absolutely, because I'm getting older. And the one thing about young people is they fail to think that one day they'll be older. I love my young cats. They call me OG, Mr. J, OG. Respect. But when I talk to them, they're very short-sighted. And it's unfortunate because a lot of the elders don't talk to the younger people. I ain't afraid of younger people. You know, a lot of times they're going to get a bad rap. But it's not, I don't care what race you are. This message is across the board with people. In the white communities, I see the young people and the older people don't really vibe with each other. And it's the same in the black community. And I'm sure it's the same in the Hispanic community and all other communities in the world. But why is it this way? Well, it's this way because how they were raised. The fact of the matter is, as you get older, I'm a veteran. And whenever I go into the VA for physical or whatever the case might be, and I see all these men by themselves, and I have my beautiful wife with me, and I look at her and I say, thank God you're here with me. Because I guarantee you, none of those men want to be in there trying to wheel that wheelchair by their damn self. None of those men want to have to walk them long-ass hallways to go see some damn doctor, to sit in some waiting room by their damn self. That's why they have all those wheelchairs and people to come help them, because a lot of people wind up alone. You don't want to do that, and if your best way to prevent that is to secure someone early. The longer you are together, the less likely you are to leave. I'm going to say this to you again. The longer you are together, the less likely either one of you are apt to leave. Now, this is all things being equal. Now, if there's abuse, alcohol, physical, that type of shit, it is what it is. But I'm talking about all things being equal, that you can actually grow old with someone, that the vows actually do matter till death do you part. She left, but she left because God took her home. Or he left, because the father took him home. But he left on his own accord because he was tired of my ass, or she left because she was tired of me. That's a whole different thing. So I highly encourage you, listen to me, take it from an OG. Now, some of you going to agree, some of you not, and that's cool, whatever rocks your boat. But I'm telling you, and I'm talking to the men. I ain't talking about the women. I know my man Kevin Samuels was smashing women, talking about buy a cat and die alone. And in its essence, I didn't disagree with the brother. He was telling them the truth. This is what's going to happen to you. But the flip side of that coin, too, it's a lot of men that's going to buy a dog and die alone as well. I'm very much into being fair and equitable across the board. This whole nonsense that, women going to die alone, buy a dog, like men don't die alone. That's a damn lie. Believe me, there are millions, if not thousands of Americans, black, white, whatever, that are elderly, that are being found by the coroner's office in their house soupy with their little dog and little poopy licking up the goods, licking up the Chick-fil-A you ate last night. I hate to be so graphic, but it is what it is. They find you soupy in the crib, right in front of with the remote by your hand, and your head that fell off, and your insides is all swelling and busting out, and you got flies and gnats and all that shit around your ass, because that's what's waiting for you. That's what's waiting for you, G. That's what's waiting for you, sis. I'm telling you straight. What, you want me here to tell you some bullshit? That's what's waiting for you. See it in your mind's eye. You're in your nightgown. You might even had your bonnet on and you had a heart attack and died. So they find you with half your hair falling out, the TV still on, but your feet done melted, and your little dog Foo-Foo, he eating your big toe. Or maybe that happened to you, player. That happened to you, playboy, right? You the pimp, you the player. I feel you, dog, but you're in your crib by yourself. You're not in the best of shape. You're not in great health. You haven't been to see the doctor. You're not taking your medication. You got high blood pressure. You stroked out. No one's heard from you in 4 weeks. They do a welfare check and find you right there with the remote in your hand, TV still playing in your Doberman, eating your leg. Somebody, oh man, you think it don't happen? You think it doesn't happen? Here's the deal. You just never hear about it. But I can assure you it happens every fucking day. And you know why? You think they wanted to wind up like that? Now, all things being equal, if their spouse passed on or whatever, cool. But if you're there because of the poor decisions that you made when you were younger, then you deserve what you get. So listen, you don't want to grow old and die alone. Don't let these motherfuckers fool you. Don't let these motherfucking dudes popping some bullshit or some chick saying some dumb shit to make you believe that's the way to go. It's not. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. I'm going to say it to you one more time in the back of the room. It's a motherfucking lie. You do not want to grow old and die alone. Remember, it's not good for man or woman to be alone. When you're alone, you're susceptible. When you're alone, you can be preyed upon. When you're alone, it's easy to break into your house. When you're alone, it's hard to defend yourself. And that's the truth. So get your head out your ass, stop listening to that dumb shit, and recognize when the elder's giving you some game, take heed. Next question.
Can you expand upon the powers that be and the hidden agenda?
The powers that be and the hidden agenda? Oh, listen. The powers that be are in full effect. There's war all over the world. A gallon of milk is damn near you can't even afford it anymore. Dozen of eggs you can barely eat. The plan is in full effect. Oh, it's not just economical. It's not just economics we're going to fuck with you. Now I got you motherfuckers hating each other. Men can't stand women. Women can't stand men. Not only am I going to do that to you, I'm going to make your kids unruly to where these motherfuckers is damn near completely out of motherfucking control. That's right. I said it. I said it. Y'all know 30 years we wasn't growing up like this. 30 years ago, you weren't growing up like this. And you know what it is? It ain't even the kid's fault. It's these fucking bullshit ass parents. I'm gonna keep it real. Man, you ain't supposed to be scared of your motherfucking kids. You know the deal. Motherfucker, I brought you in the world. Motherfucker, I take you out. What happened? Well, you got rid of fathers. You made the woman go out there and work 40, 50 hours a week, so she too goddamn tired to come home, feed the kids, make sure they do their motherfucking homework and all that other bullshit. This is what happens when you destroy the nuclear family. You set yourself up for fucking destruction. Why am I being so curt? Because I'm real passionate about this. The fact of the matter is we're destroying ourselves. Our children are merely a reflection of us and what you've allowed to happen. Inundate them with killing. John Wick 2, 3, and 4. Terminator, kill. Then you wonder why your kids out here killing everybody. The Surgeon General just said the number one cause of death for young people, I think it was between 15 and 19, was gun violence. What the fuck? Not cancer, not diabetes, not lupus, not car accidents, none of that shit. A motherfucker willingly go get a gun, put a bullet in it, go put it in another motherfucking kid. Whose fault is that? The motherfucking society's fault. Am I against the Second Amendment? Hell no, I stay strapped. Best believe I'll make you a winner of the wet t-shirt contest. For real. How you young folks say, for real. But at the same time, I have enough prudence and wisdom to know when to use it and when not to use it, and violence is always a last resort. But unfortunately, in our society, it's become the first resort. You resort to violence. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. The powers that be are in full month. They got y'all motherfuckers so distracted watching all that bullshit. Fuck sports, man. I like sports, but I don't live for that shit. All them motherfuckers is rich. Motherfuckers be in the barbershop arguing over goddamn teams. What the fuck? I go in the bar, it pisses me off. You motherfuckers arguing about the stock market. How come you ain't arguing about cryptocurrency? How come you ain't arguing about 401ks? How come you ain't arguing about buying real estate? How come you ain't arguing about getting IUL insurances? How come you argue about all the bullshit? The bullshit, the agenda's in full effect. Next thing you know, you're 65, you die, you're asking your kid to do a fucking GoFundMe. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck is wrong with us, man? Oh, you don't like, man, I love sports, I play ball. But, it's not the world. It's not the fucking world. And I'm not hating, don't get me wrong, but too many of us are focused on the wrong shit. The shit that, man, every last one of them ball players for the most part got millions. Good for them. Real rap. Good for them. But most of you motherfuckers going to the game, fuck that. You should be trying to figure out, how can I get on like that? I can't play for the team, but can I own a piece of this motherfucker? You want to see the state of America? Go into any barbershop and listen to the conversation. Bullshit. Bitches and hoes and sports. Whenever I speak, motherfucker, what's the good word for Mr. J? You know why they ask me that? Because I'm going to tell you some real shit. You know, I like the Lakers and I like Ant-Man. I like all of them. Hey, man, do your thing, bro. Real rap, my brothers. Do your thing, man. But at the end of the day, the real world, that's called sports entertainment. It's entertainment. You know, that's not what the news acronym stands for. News, entertainment, weather, and sports. News. You know what the real news is? The country's falling the fuck apart. Motherfuckers can't even afford fucking rent. 2 bands for an apartment? What the fuck? And you know what's sad about it? You motherfuckers ain't doing shit about it. You just take it. Just take it. You just keep taking it. Most people don't even know the Constitution and their rights. I have to educate my wife on these things. I tell her about this shit. Don't even know what your rights are. You just take it. You just take this. You just taking what they're giving you. Take it. We're going to raise the price of milk. Take it. We're going to raise the price of fuel. Take it. We're going to raise the price of food. Take it. We're going to raise the price of real estate. Take it. And you sitting up there trying to smoke an L or drink something to ease the pain in your mind. Tell me I'm lying. Or maybe you run to the church house. Maybe you run to the church house and hear, and Pastor Get Rich tell you some bullshit. That's right, I said it. Pastor Get Rich. If you got $1,000, get in this line. And the Lord got a special prayer for it. Need I say more, motherfucker? Tell me I'm lying. The game. This is all a game. And unfortunately, most of you motherfuckers is losing. And you know why you losing? Because you have yet to realize it's a game. And in every game, there's winners and losers. Choose what side you want to be on. Choose. Really think about what I'm telling you. Don't get in your feelings. That's part of the game too. Through programming and psychological conditioning, you become very emotional. And whenever emotions are at high levels, logic goes out the window. Is there anything that what this gentleman's saying, is there any validity to it? Is he telling me something that's the truth? Well, if I'm wrong, why is there so much alcohol sold in this country? If I'm wrong, why is there a vape shop on every goddamn corner now? If I'm wrong, all that stuff is a form of self-motherfucking medication. But why do you need medication? You only take medication, motherfucker. Listen good. Come in close when you're sick. You see? Remember back in the day, you say, hey man, you smoke? Dude like, nah. Dude, so you drink? Dude like, nah. He said, what you do to get by? Man, I'm on a natural high. See, y'all probably can't relate to that anymore because everybody's fucked up. Most motherfuckers staying high. If I'm a young man, listen to me. Focus on getting the bag. If I'm a young woman, focus on being the best version of yourself. But recognize the game that's being played. And motherfuckers, you the motherfucker participants in it. Don't you see that shit? You the participants in it. The game doesn't work unless you participate. You must understand, every game must have pieces, all right? And there must be something to win and something to lose. And the best game I could describe it is Monopoly. It's Monopoly. Who owns all the retail? We know who. We know who. Who controls the alcohol industry? Who controls the fuel? You're given the illusion of choice. It ain't but 4 or 5 motherfucking gas companies out here. It ain't but 4 or 5 places you can shop. Target, Walmart, Amazon. Or some other little local. What the fuck? I'm telling you the truth. It's all they controlling everything. And whether you want to own it or not, they controlling you. Even with social media platforms. You only go what? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. It is what it is. But if you're going to understand it's a game, listen good. Play the game to win. Play the game to win. And you can play the game with integrity and with character. It might take you longer because if you have integrity and character, you usually going to get overlooked for a minute because most motherfuckers like to cheat. It is what it is. Most motherfuckers going to lie, scheme, and scam their way to the top. So if you do it the right way, it might seem like it take a little longer. But here's what I want to leave you with that. It might take you a little longer, but at least you can fucking sleep at night, man. You ain't got to worry about somebody coming to fuck with you. Excuse my curtness, but it was just put in my spirit today. Keep it 100 with them. There's enough people out there talking properly, and sure, if you want me to, I could speak in a certain fashion that you would think I graduated from some prestigious university and I worked in a corporate environment, and I can sit up here and sound like a black educated individual, which I am educated. But I'm the man of many spirits, if you will. I got that side of me, and then I got this gully side of me that grew up in the hood around the dope boys, the pimps, and all that type shit. And that side of you never goes away. You just place him away in his box until he needs to come out. And that's what came out today. So fuck if it hurt your feelings. I really don't give a shit. I hope it inspires you and it gets you to think about your fucking life, man. Because you know what? You're under the illusion that you have time. You're literally under the illusion that you have time to waste, to do whatever you want to do. Yeah, time runs out. And then I always have gray on my face. And it's very weird as you get older. When you're young, you cannot wait to become older. And when you're older, you just wish you were young. It's kind of a bitter curse if you think about it. But the fact of the matter is, no matter what I've said today, hopefully in some way, form, or fashion, it's enlightened you for you to take stock of your life. To really think about the decisions that you're making, who you're with, who you're around, where are the fuck you going? Are you driving your life or is your life driving you? Unfortunately, many people's lives are driving them. Where is it driving them? Right to the grave. It is inevitable we're all going to wind up there. But at least when you get there, leave there or get there knowing you did everything you could and everything in your power just to make your life better, if you will, but those around you. My goal is simple here at Evolution. The title itself is self-explanatory. We need to evolve. Evolve into what? Evolve into the person that you know secretly in your heart you're wanting to become, but lack the courage, the discipline, and determination to bring it into fruition. My job is to spark the flame to let you know that as long as you have breath, you have time. But time as well as breath runs out. So stop wasting time. Stop wasting time, and get on with it. I hope it helps.
Can you talk about the powers of a destructive word or destructive mind?
The power of a destructive word and a destructive mind. In mentoring and coaching people, you come to realize the power of words and the power of a destructive mind. Many people, in my opinion, have how can I say this? A propensity to destroy themselves. For whatever reasons. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, that you're overweight and you know you should diet and eat better, but this person, instead of doing that, they continually overeat and they have diabetes and they lose their leg. They had their leg amputated. Or say, for instance, a person doesn't eat as much and they're anorexic and they're not taking care of themselves in that way. And now they're weighing 68 pounds and they're 35 years old. There's obviously mental components that go along with that. Or even in productive relationships. Let me give you an example. Young people go to school knowing that their mom has told them to study and get a good education. Their father has told them the same thing. But yet, in order to be accepted by their peers in the classroom, they act stupid in the classroom, which is a form of self-destruction. They get in trouble, they get detention, they get suspended, whatever the case might be. All because they lack the emotional fortitude to do what is necessary to accomplish whatever it is that they want. So when I understand that the power of the mind is very powerful, it can be used to elevate you to heights that your imagination can conceive, or it can bring you to elements of despair, because all of it first takes place in the mind. The power of a destructive word is many of us are always seeking validation from others. Whether you want your parents' approval, your husband's approval, your boss's gratification for a job well done, which I get and understand. It's part of human nature that we want to be recognized, if you will, and made to feel good. But all of it is vanity when you really think about it, because the only person that is responsible for you is you. You must come to understand this. The only one who is responsible for your well-being is you. The only one responsible for your happiness is you. The only one responsible for your life itself is you. This excludes children and infants, understandably. But once you become an adult, no one is coming to save you. But unfortunately, many people can't be saved and won't be saved because they don't want to be saved. What do I mean by that? When you are constantly bombarded with negativity, negative words, negative imagery, be it the music, social media, television, whatever, you constantly are fed a diet of darkness. That destructive word, that destructive mind, all of these things, ultimately, you have power over, because you are always given the choice to choose to be positive or negative, to be uplifting or destructive, to be productive or slowful, to be a steward or to be irresponsible. Ultimately, we are all given a choice, and we're all given 24 hours in a day. But what we're not all given is the discipline and determination and perseverance. Sometimes that has to be wrung out of us, and that's why we need coaches in our lives to help us realize the potential that we have. So stop being destructive. Here's what I will say to you. Forgive yourself. Stop beating yourself up over some shit that happened a couple of years ago. Learn from it, remember it, learn from it, and then move on, all right? But don't destroy yourself through your own negative thinking and through your own negative criticism of yourself, particularly with women. Stop thinking you're not pretty enough, or, whatever, or to guys, I'm not tall enough, all this bullshit. You know what's really fascinating? When you're dead, what difference does it make how tall you were, how fat you were, how skinny you were, where you live? You're all buried in the same damn graveyard. I mean, really think about it. I want to leave you with this, an interesting thought for you to ponder as you exit the podcast or watching this reel. Just understand and remember this. 50 years from now, all the shit you worry about, most of these motherfuckers will be dead. Really think about that shit. They'll be dead. Why are you worried about somebody that's literally the walking dead? How can you call them the walking dead? They just ain't died yet. So why would you even worry about it? Why would you even worry about it? Focus on doing you to the best of your ability. But remember, sometimes doing you can sacrifice others. So make sure you're doing you, but you do you in the right way. Integrity, character, morals. Integrity, character, morals. Integrity, character, morals. Everyone is not evil. Remember that. Even though the programming and the agenda is to get you to believe that everyone is. That's the agenda. To make you so isolated that you people would never come together. What do I mean by you people? Society. The blacks will always be against the whites. The whites will always be against the blacks. The Hispanics and the Chinese, we're always going to keep all of you divided. And as long as we keep you divided, the 1% stays the 1%, and the rest of you down there fight over the crumbs, the few shekels, if you will, that you can go in your supermarkets and buy your little tangerines and oranges and yogurts and make you feel as though that your life matters. When in the grand scheme of things in today's society, listen carefully. It matters not. The agenda's in full effect. The question is, are you participating in it? And whether you're knowingly or unknowingly, you're participating in it. If you spew negativity, if you spew hatred, if you spew division, if you spew these things out of your mouth, no matter who you are, you're part of the agenda. So I hope it helps. Hey, listen, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I have to say this before I leave this. Thank you again for all the wonderful comments, all the follows, the millions of views. I cannot express it enough. Listen, make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you go check out the full podcast on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. Look for our events that are coming. There's a lot of great stuff that are happening behind the background, but I like to play things close to the chest until they actually manifest and come to fruition. But there are a lot of wonderful things. And so I hope that you'll see you guys there as these things unfold. Remember this, your life matters. Remember this, your life matters. Remember that there's no one like you. There might be people with similar characteristics, similar traits, but there's no one like you. And whatever you came here to do, find it, for that is your purpose. As always, remember, your mind makes it real. I'm Mr. Johnson. Have a blessed and prosperous day. And remember, check us out, Evolution Now Productions. Peace.